Okay, friends, we're back. We need to have a variable cost that ends up being dollars, because we have to add dollars to the fixed costs to end up getting overall dollars. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to start with the gas cost of $2.50 per gallon. I'm going to start with that because we got dollars where we want it. We want it in the numerator, because if you think about the idea of numbers, if I want to add dollars to dollars, we want those dollars up in a numerator. The problem is we don't want gallons. Gallons is screwing things up. We don't want to talk about a gallon of gas, because a gallon is not the variable. We want to get rid of the gallon. And we also have to figure out how that gallon of gas brings the mileage in. And I think, you know what, now that I'm thinking out loud, talking to y'all, appreciate you being there, I think I can see it. Because check this out. Gallon is in the denominator here. Now, gallon over here is also in the denominator, and that's kind of an annoyance. But nobody said that we have to write it as 23 miles over 1 gallon. We could also write this as GPM, gallons per mile. 1 gallon per, excuse me, plant, 23 miles. See, nobody said, just because we always talk about MPG with cars, doesn't mean we have to. You can also talk about GPM. It's kind of like on the project where I asked you, you talk about miles per hour somebody's running, and you can also talk about time per mile. So not mile per time, but time per mile. Miles per gallon, how about gallons per miles? And the reason I like that is, check this out. I'm going to write that fraction right next to this one. 1 gallon per 23 miles. Now check that out. Check that out. If we could just cancel the gallons, we would then have dollars, which is exactly what we want. And more importantly, we'd have dollars per mile, which is also what we want, because miles is the variable we decided on. So I think we can do this by just multiplying these two fractions together using dimensional analysis. Because if we do that, then, where's my colored chalk? Here it is. Then the gallons, whoops, try that again. It's a little better. Then the gallons divide off, and you're left with $2.50 per 23 miles. Now this should make perfect sense. If gas costs $2.50 a gallon, and this car can go 23 miles on a gallon, then it costs $2.50 to go 23 miles. So I think we can now figure out how much it costs to go 1 mile by dividing that 23 into 250. Was it like 11 cents? Let's figure it out here. 250, let's get some precision. 250 divided by 23, I get just about 11 cents. 10.9 cents a mile. So for the V6, it costs I'll write it as dollars. $0.109 per mile. I think we now have a variable cost that actually makes sense. All we have to do now is figure out what that variable cost is for the hybrid. And I bet you can do it now, because it's going to be the exact same math. Because gas costs the same whether you're driving a hybrid or a V6. The only difference is the miles you get per gallon. It's 34 for the hybrid. So between now and the next video, do the math like we just did here. We know for the V6 it's $0.109 per gallon, so it's about 11 cents a gallon. Figure out how much it's going to cost for the hybrid. And I'll give you a hint, it's got to be less than that, because the hybrid does cost less per gallon because it gets more miles per gallon. Okay, next video, we put all this together, we figure out which car we're going to buy based on cost. I had to think about that for a second because there's lots of things to figure out, but we're figuring that out right now. See you in the next video.